Welcome to join our talk today. This talk summarizes 18 months of work involving the compilation and assessment of porosity and permeability data within the deeper subsurface Lockport group, and the placement of this data into a refined stratigraphic and lithofacies framework. So the main purpose of this study is to compile, assess, and plot the geospatial and statistical analysis of porosity and permeability core test results from deeper subsurface intervals of the Lockport group in southwestern Ontario. The map on right shows the Leapfrog 3D model top surface of the Lockport group and highlights the distribution of Pinnacle Structures. The lithostratigraphic chart on the left provides a general perspective of the variability of thickness and regional distribution of the Lockport group. The Lockport group comprises 4 formations, which from oldest to youngest include the Gasport, Gold Island, Aramosa, and Guelph formations. The width of blue vertical lines to right of Cuesta Scarps show Lockport Group is most significant potable bedrock resources in southwestern Ontario. And as you look to west in deeper subsurface, where our porosity and permeability data is derived, the Lockport pinnacles and ramp carbonates are among the most significant oil and gas reservoirs and also formational brines. The study area straddles 2 important Paleozoic basins, the Michigan Intracratonic Basin and the Appalachian Foreland Basin. There are 2 interpretations of the depositional model of Lockport. Previous studies, as shown in the figure to the left, indicate that the Lockport group as a broad carbonate platform dips northwesterly into a subsiding Michigan Basin and southeasterly into the Appalachian Foreland Basin. The Pinnacle structures were referred to as the Guelph reefs that grew as subsidence was taking place. However, recent studies of pinnacle and interpinnacle cores find that much of the strata in pinnacles is not Guelph formation, and that sedimentary structures, paleokarst horizons, and diagenetic fabrics all point to shallow water ramp deposition. So a revised model is followed here and shown in figure on right, whereby the Lockport group represents deposition on an easterly dipping, intermittently and tectonically active carbonate ramp. Data for this project is largely from the core analysis database compiled by the OGSR staff in London. It includes a total of 155 core wells covering part or all of the Lockport group and the Lower Salina group, with more than 11,000 porosity and permeability datasets. The red dots indicate the location of the 155 core wells with the core analysis data. Data density is variable and data gaps occur between the shallow subcrop area, where the OGS have published the regional subsurface data that are represented by the green dots, and the deeper subsurface data compiled in this study. 39 out of the 155 core wells have been selected as key cores for detailed logging. It includes the documentation of depositional features, lithofacies, faunas, and diagenetic features. The purpose of this work is to relate the various lithofacies and sedimentological and diagenetic features to the porosity and permeability variations. The study area has been subdivided into 3 broad areas based upon lithofacies types, depositional settings, and diagenetic features. Area 1 and Area 2 represents the inner to mid-ramp settings with mixed lagoonal muddy environments to more open marine cyclic deposition, where pinnacle structure occur. In the deeper subsurface of Lambton and Kent counties in Area 1, the Lockport group comprises a thinner Gasport foundational succession and is overlain by Gold Island ramp lithofacies and capped by highly karsted Guelph formation. The Lockport is usually sealed by brecciated salina group, mixed evaporites, and microbialites. The interpinnacle Lockport group succession displays a highly karstic rubbly texture in Guelph formation with thickness less than 10 meters. Area 2 possesses the thickest stacked Dolostone carbonate ramp successions of the Lockport group, and Area 3 represents the middle to outer carbonate ramp. This picture shows the tower-like features that are called the pinnacle structures in Lockport group. The pinnacles here are dominated by Gold Island and Guelph lithophases with a thinner gas port formation, and the general predictive rule is that the more extensively karsted the basal salina group and the Guelph formations are, the more paleokarst zones are present in the pinnacle structures. These pinnacle structures have long been called the pinnacle reefs due to the genetic interpretation of them representing the deeper water reef mounds that grew on the slope with up to 100 to 200 meters of water in center of Michigan Basin. However, the core logging through pinnacles supports the cartoon model shown in lower right. The core photo on the left is an example from pinnacle structures. Although fossiliferous, the corals do not form solid framework as reef building, and there are no distinctive microbial fabrics and faunas to support a mud mound or reef-bound genesis for the entire 3D structures. Therefore, a new interpretation has identified the Guelph Formation as a karstic Breccia-Caliche Paleosol unit that reflects an extended period of karstification at the end of the Lockport deposition. So we support the hypothesis that these pinnacle structures are karstic landforms or karst towers comprising erosional remnants of the Lockport group rather than a constructional reefal structure that grew in deeper water. So from this slide, I'll take some reference wells within various pools in different areas to show the porosity and permeability variations in different carbonate stacking patterns. So within this pool in area 1, the variation in this pinnacle structure is quite high. The porosity is between 1 to 27%, and the max horizontal permeability is up to 1000 MD. The three charts on the right show the relationships of porosity and the logarithm permeability max. It shows a general linear fitting except for the A1 carb in the middle well. It is possible that the permeability is hindered by the presence of evaporites. The red columns mark the initial oil and gas shown zone, which covers the A1 carb to Guelph. What should be noticed is that the right two wells have thicker Guelph, with lithophases 2 dominates the lower Guelph. And the well to the left has thinner Guelph with lithophases 3 dominates the lower Guelph. So karstic features are very common in lithophases 4 shown in the photos, and A1 carbonate maintains a high porosity that's enhanced by evaporite dissolution. Within the interpinnacle karst area, there's a great thinning of all formations in Lockport. The Guelph is usually less than 10 meters, which is capped by the algal laminites of A0 carb shown in the photo. The highly karstic features occur in the Guelph formation, including the karst rubbles, karstic conduits, and recrystalline cements. The regional variability is pretty low. The porosity is between 2 to 13%, and the permeability is less than 100 MD. The regional porous zone only occurs in the Guelph formation, and the relationships between the permeability and the porosity may seem to have a linear fitting pattern, but not for the A1 carb. It is possible because that in the interpinnacle karst area, the A1 carb is pure limestone, while the other formations are dolomitized to some extent. In Area 3, no pinnacle structure is present. Natural gas pools have formed in Elgin County and western Lake Erie. Here is an example from the Tilbury pool. Initial gas penetrates from A2 unit to the top of Gold Island Formation. In this pool, the variability is moderate. The porosity ranges from 1 to 16% and the permeability from 0.1 to 1000 million Darcy. Previously, studies only recognized the Guelph Formation as the gas play zone. However, the Gold Island Formation in pools like this also has generally high porosity and forms the lower part of the gas play. This is caused by the occurrence of the stromatoporoid, coral, and skeletal boundstone facies cemented by the bluish-gray calcium microbial fabrics as shown in the photo. Tracing northeastward, no oil and gas shows in the Lockport. The Guelph Formation thins to 12 to 15 meters, while the Gold Island Formation thickens variably from 30 to 55 meters. The porosity ranges from 1 to 16%. The permeability is pretty variable. The max horizontal permeability for each well ranges from 10 to 1,000 MD. Therefore, the porosity and permeability are pretty sensitive to thickness of each formation, because the thickening of Guelph may indicate a karst tower occurrence in Area 1 and reef mounting facies in Gold Island and Gasport formations in Area 3. The three figures on left show top of Gasport, Gold Island, and Guelph formations from 3D leapfrog model layers published last year. The three figures on right show isopath maps of weighted average porosity estimates for the Gasport, Gold Island, and Guelph formations. Weighted average porosity has been plotted in the isopath maps marked by the percentage number. In the isopath map figures, the green polygons reflect the Silurian oil and gas pools, and the color ramp reflects the relative thickness of given formations versus porosity data. We can see that the data are very sparse in Gasport formation. There is a bias towards Guelph portion of the stacked Dolostone succession. What should be noticed is that the gas pools in western Lake Erie near the southern end follow the thicker Gasport formation, although no data is available to further explore this relationship. For Gold Island formation in Area 3, average porosity value is higher when Gold Island is thicker. As you can see, the Tilbury and Fletcher gas pools in Elgin and western Lake Erie follow the thick Gold Island. In Area 1, the Pinnacle Structures have highest average porosity and permeability estimates for all formations. The interpinnacle areas have the lowest. In summary, the porosity and permeability variations of Lockport group correlate well with architecture of formation thickness variations in pinnacle structures. In Area 1, the pinnacle structures, where the Lockport is thick, the average porosity and permeability values are highest, and the interpinnacle karst succession possess the variability but consistently lower values. In Area 3, the regional porosity and permeability distribution is controlled by a variety of factors, including the lithofacies and textural variations and diagenetic history. Higher porosity values correspond well with reef mount facies and local thickening of strata units. In general, the average porosity of each formation decreases in northeasterly direction in western Lake Erie, which follows the thinning trending of formational thickness. So the next step of this project is the detailed core logging for exploring the geological controls on porosity and permeability variations of the Silurian Lockport group. Thank you for listening, and feel free to ask questions.